3rd of December 2024. In this Skidmark, I'm going to talk about the BELA Bill. Now, I want to make it clear before I start and before you listen and waste your time. I'm doing this video from the point that I am a Christian. I believe in God, the creator of this universe, and the Bible gives us good guidelines and instructions on how to treat and handle our children. The Bible also makes it very clear that in the eyes of God, the children are precious. So, if you are not a Christian, don't listen to this video. Don't do it. In this video, I'm going to split the target audience into two main groupings: Christians and Satanists. And you have to understand, I'm not going to pull punches. And if you are in the Satanist team, you are not going to like what I have to say. But I don't care, because somebody has to say it. Then I want to make it very clear. I did not pay attention to the BELA Bill from the beginning, for the simple reason I don't have children that is of school-going age. My children are big and they've got their own children. But I became aware of this BELA Bill a while back, and I started looking at the details. Now, the people that follow my channel, they know that I say it many times, I'm a fundamentalist, and I stick to the basics. And this is what I'm going to do in this video. And if you have children of school-going age and you are a Christian, you must pay attention to what I'm going to say. We have to accept a simple fact. The world that we are currently living in today, it is quite clear that the onslaught of Satan is in overdrive. And nothing is considered out of bounds. Nothing. There is no room for common decency. There is no room for Christianity. They want the Christians wiped out. Now, the followers of my channel will know that I talk a lot about XXX, and that is the gang that is driving for world domination. Now, let's look at the BELA Bill. The Basic Education Laws Amendment Bill, B2-2022, either proposes or, through the use of other policies, makes it possible for, pay attention, 1. Regulation of all schools, including home education and micro schools, but does not provide details on those regulations and on what basis they will take effect. It provides for a regulatory backdoor that could mean mandating medical treatment, abortions, impose changes to school admissions policy, language of instruction, and much, much more. Now, it is really important that you take notice of the fact that this is a very wide article. And you must understand that the children is the main aim of the Satanists, because those young impressionable minds, once they've been corrupted, it will be almost impossible to rectify that mental damage. And this is why XXX is so focused on the school. This useless cabal that is in charge of South Africa since 1994 has been following the instructions of their satanic masters since 1994. It was planned prior to 94, but in 94 they got the power. And look what they did very rapidly. First, they removed the ability of teachers to discipline children at school. Then they removed the ability of parents to discipline their children at home. All in contradiction with the Bible. All in contradiction with God's instructions. Take note. So, the Satanists won that round, basically unopposed. So, the disciplinary power of parents has been removed, and of children, of teachers as well. And what was the result of that? Rowdy, undisciplined children. Teachers could not manage in the classes. Then the satanic fuckers neglected and actually sabotaged the education system to such an extent that they did not provide for growing numbers, and teachers had to cope with the growing numbers in their classes, and they could not. And those children in those classes started attacking teachers, threatening teachers. Now I'm going to split our society in the civilized and the barbarians. The civilized parents struggled with that. The barbarian parents didn't care. But unfortunately, the barbarian numbers grew at an alarming rate, and the civilized parents started moving their children to the old Model C schools, where there was still some form of discipline, and the parental bodies of those schools assisted the teachers in managing the children. But the national schools went down the chute, and you had disgusting leadership. You know what they did. They dropped the pass rate to 30%. They started fucking around with everything along that. And then you ended up into a situation where pupils of the age of 18 is in grade 4 among small young children. And pretty soon it becomes a national known fact that students, barbarian students, were raping small girls at school. But this fucking useless government did nothing about that. They were happy. They have implemented the instruction from their masters. There's no discipline. And it just got worse and worse. And then you ended up in a situation that it was clear. Students get out of school with a matric certificate, which is absolutely useless. They can't read, they can't write, they can't read with comprehension, they have no mathematics background, fuck all. And those uneducated barbarians were moved into the universities. So slowly but surely the whole education system was infected by the agents of Satan. And then they came with the BELA Bill, because they could not tolerate the fact that there were still schools that were teaching the children. And you heard what they planned. Number 2, teachers forced to enable 12-year-old girls to have abortions without their parents' knowledge or obtaining their consent. Teachers could also face a heavy fine or 6 months prison or both if they do not comply with the state. Either way, they will have a criminal record for the rest of their lives. Now, again, for the civilized parents, this is horrific. The barbarian parents don't care. But, as I've said it, the barbarians are in the majority. 3. Implementation of one-size-fits-all education, which means that all schools and even home educators could be forced to teach scripted, compulsory, comprehensive sexuality education, CSE, if their curriculum is to be not inferior to the national curriculum as it is worded in the bill. And this is the thing that a lot of parents did not even realize. But no, they made a hell of a story about language and admission shit. It was a red herring and it was tossed out there and the crowds went for it. Focused on language and admission. While at the back end, this sexuality fuck-up was already passed. 4. Grade R to be made compulsory, which apart from the fact that a 5-year-old should still be learning through play, means they are now subjected to CSE at an age where they are highly impressionable and in a phase of imitation. You must take note of this. I have said it on Twitter in a response to Neil de Beer's tweet. What they are doing there now at school is they are sexualizing those youngsters, 6 years old. They're sexualizing them and they are grooming a troop that will roam the streets and rape 3-year and 2-year and 1-year-old babies. That's what they will do, because those young minds, once they've been sexualized like this, they do not have the mental capacity to understand the consequences of their deeds. They have been turned into animals. But this is what this satanic XXX wants, because it understands once it has destroyed that and corrupted that young mind, it can never be fixed. Never. So if you are a Christian parent, you need to be extremely alarmed. What I cannot understand is that the Christian parents were not on the streets in their millions when they started with this cuck in 2022. But you did not pay attention because the media was there to soft soap the thing on instruction from XXX, and the prime XXX puppet, the ANC ruling cabal, were following instructions. That law was thrown onto their desk and on Cyril's desk and said, get it through. And he had no fucking choice. He had to get it through. And he complained, and he said, I'm going to have a lot of resistance from the public, especially from the Afrikaner portion of the public. And they said, man, fuck them up with this language and admission thing. They'll take that bait and not pay attention to what we really want. We want that ability to sexualize these children. That is what we want. Fuck around with them with their language and admission. And he did it exactly like that. And what can you believe? The people took the bait. Now, as so many times in the past, that whole orange protest turned into a fucking big nothing pie, because Cyril has come out and said, listen, that agreement between the orange parties and NETLAC is only applicable on the parties, not on them. So it was, again, bullshit. But the harsh reality is that the children's lives are at stake. What are you going to do about it? 5. Criminalizing parents and sending them to prison for 12 months for minor transgressions, such as registering their children too late or being unwilling to register their 5-year-old for compulsory grade R1. What is that? Have you thought about it? And this is now for the Christians and the barbarians. Have you thought about the implications there? You're staying in a rural area, 100 kilometers away from the closest school. How are you going to get your 5-year at class every day? But the government doesn't care about that. If that child does not pitch at school, they can lock you up. Let that one sink in. 6. Limiting and controlling the powers and functions of school governing bodies that have to run the schools due to the clear failure of government to do so themselves. And now you must understand, Satanists like Sufi wants to remove parental control over the schools because in certain areas those parental bodies has got a lot of clout. The Sufi wants the schools destroyed. The Sufi wants the schools to be turned into orgy centers, abortion factories, because do not forget for a second, those aborted fetuses has got high financial value for certain people, so they need fetuses. What better place to use the schools to incubate those fetuses? And then, listen, look again. Teachers could also face a heavy fine or 6 months prison if they do not comply with the state. And it is for teachers forced to enable 12-year-old girls to have abortions without their parents' knowledge or obtaining their consent. Do you not understand what fucking satanic thing this BELA Bill is? But the political parties all supported it. Why? Because they're all in Satan's gang. You must understand it. The fight is good versus evil. And at this point, evil has got all the power on their side. But if you do not stand up and protect your children, fuck Cyril with his stories of signing some clauses and leaving other open for discussion. That whole fucking bill needs to be scrapped. But does the parents, the Christian parents, have the guts to actually resist? But you need to understand, when it comes to fighting the BELA Bill, society is split in two, civilized and barbarians. And it is no secret who has the majority. So I don't know how this is going to end. Well, I know how it's going to end, with a lot of toddlers that has turned into sex maniacs. But what will the real end be? A rotten, fucking useless, satanic society. That is what the end is going to be. And for you as a Christian, you need to understand they are going for the children, but their ultimate goal is to wipe you out. I don't know what happened. How did it happen that we, the decent people, allowed these Satanists to get away with what they got away with? And these political parties, if you think for one fucking moment they are there to serve your interest, you need to shake your head until that shit flies out of your ears, because they are there to serve their masters. They are not there for your interest. Now, a lot of people are going to start screaming at me. I don't give a shit. You can scream, you can shout. I don't care. As I've many times in my live show said, and I play that song, I've got no more fucks to give. My fucks has ran away. So, look at yourself and look at that small children under your control and understand that you are going to look at a situation where you will be transporting him to classrooms of hell. And those little innocent minds will be poisoned and destroyed beyond repair. Please give me a like and a subscribe and share the thing. Thank you for your support.